Hey everyone, here we are back for another update. Today's one, we're going to be going through something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about the bye schedule. So, Origin comes up in the middle of the year this season, back to normal. But there's a couple of small changes that we're going to have to talk about first. So, for starters, teams will only have one bye this year. So, in previous years, there's been two byes and three distinct rounds where half the teams are only going to be playing, and a lot of teams are having that bye, with two other rounds with a couple of teams having a bye. This season, there's only two of those rounds, so round 13 and round 17. Well, you can see I've got in red there for those this is when they're having their bye. So we've got half the teams having their bye in round 13 and half having their bye in round 17. So what I gather from this is going to make it a little bit easier to navigate that whole period. So it used to be sort of between round 12 and round 18/19, with 19 looking to get the majority of your guns back. But a lot of the time, these Origin players could have 3 to 4, even 5 games off. Seen Teddy have 4 to 5 games off once, and same with guys like Smith, etc. What you'll see with this time, there's going to be a gap in the middle. So where round 15 would be, right in the middle of 13 to 17, there's going to be a standalone weekend for Origin and also the international games as well. So with Samoa, Tonga, New Zealand, and the rest of the teams that are going to play that there, mixed in with the women's Origin as well. So a whole week off there for a lot of guys is going to be really helpful. But what that means for me, or what I see value in there, is the fact that Origin guys are most likely only going to miss those two rounds. So round 13, which is the week before Origin, and same with round 17, the week before that third Origin there. So what we got to think about there is there's going to be some guys that are going to be better to bring into our team now. Obviously, round 13 is very far away, but if you're picking up guys in that mid-tier position, there's a good chance that, okay, you're going to be bringing them into your team at the start. They're going to make you a decent amount of money, score you decent points, and then hopefully they go on to be keepers. But if they don't, then it'd be nice if they played round 13. So then you could get rid of them, trade them to a keeper that's going to play round 17 onwards, or hopefully wait a little bit longer and bring in a cash cow, with the other option is just waiting through that bye and then picking up a gun in the back end. So I just feel like it's just going to be easier to navigate, especially for those coaches that going to have a bunch of teams in this players in teams that are in this section here in the green, and we'll talk about some of the players that I think are going to be beneficial to your squad during this position. Got our coffee in here. So we'll start with the ones that aren't going to be as good. So we look at the Warriors to start with. They have their bye in round 13. So guys like Tohu Harris, who I'm tempted to bring into my team, he is going to miss that first bye round, which is not great, because every other team, especially with those Origin guns, are going to miss that 13 as well. So it would be nice if he played that first one, just so you can get a leg up on the other guys. But RTS and UNH can some of the other guns in the other positions that do have that bye then. So things to think about with them is, after that round 13's bye is done, from 14 onwards, guys like RTS, Aiken and Harris are going to be playing the rest of the year. So they are people that have tremendous value in being able to average what they normally do over that time and not miss a game, which would lower their average over that past the second half of the season. So they're really interesting picks. Harris, all three of them are good to start the year with as well, but are going to be even better come round 14. And then you've got some in the middle tier guys like Code Nikarima, CHT, so Chanel Harris-Tavita, Lisa Narmau, and Ben Murdoch-Masilla. All guys that you'd probably want to start the year with if you're looking to get them, but just think they're probably guys that you're going to want to move on before round 13 anyway, so they're not really affected by the bye schedule. We move on to the Dogs. They also have a bye in round 13. Just Kyle Flanagan, I'd say, is a gun that you'd want to be thinking about. But for him, if you bring him in now with an average of just over 50 anyway, you're looking to keep him for the entirety of the year, so the buys isn't going to be an issue. He will play in round 17. So he's only going to miss one game for the year, which is great. And then you look at guys like Adam Elliott and Corey Allen, who again, are probably going to be guys that aren't going to be keepers, so you'd be looking to make money off them at the start, and the buys shouldn't play a factor for them. We move on to the Sharks. So Sean Johnson, not going to be playing at the start of the year, but he's an interesting one as well that maybe look to pick him up in round 14 if he's someone that starts playing really well once he comes back. And then you go to guys like Andrew Fafita, Chad Townsend, and Matty Moylan. All guys, again, not going to be affected by the buys because you'd want to be getting them at the start of the year and flicking them towards that middle part of the year. When we go to the Rabbitohs, we've got a bunch of Origin guys in there. So Cook, Murray, Reynolds won't play Origin. Well, he shouldn't. And Walker. So, again, these are all keepers and are guys that are going to miss 2 games. Cook, Murray, and Walker. Reynolds has just missed the 1, so he could be someone interesting to bring in at approximately round 14 if he's doing really well and the Rabbitohs are killing it and he's scoring great. If you've got young Colo on the bench there, who has a really long last name that I'm not ready to pronounce yet, but again, he won't be affected by this if he gets a nice spot on the bench and gets some good minutes. Onto the Raiders, you got Jackie Whiten and Papali. Again, both will be playing Origin, so we'll miss both those games anyway. Guys to think about are Corey Horsburgh, Hodgson. You got guys like Corey Harunara, CHN, close. As to guys to think about, but again, these Horsburgh might be an interesting one, depending on what happens with his if he gets suspended or if anything happens with him. But he could be cool come the back end if he does take a big role and there's injuries and stuff like that to think about. Seagulls, you got Cherry Evans who should play Origin, Trbojevic same. Tapau would have been a really cool option given the fact if he was playing round 13, but he does not, and he has a little bit of upside, but you'd want to keep him for the year anyway. So someone again that could be great in round 14 if you're not starting with him. And then you guys got like Schuster, Davey, and Walker in our mid-tier / cash cows, which again you shouldn't be worried about them. Starting with them at the start would be great. Cowboys, you got Taumalolo, does miss the first game, will play the second round. If you're not going to start with him, he's perfect to bring in round 14. And you got Reece Robson, who if you're looking to play him, I think you'd want to probably start him with a little bit of upside, given the fact that in his 80-minute games he's done really well. And you got Morgan and Holmes. So both I don't think will end up as keepers, but you'd want to make your money at the start of the season, and then you can move them on. So I wouldn't worry about the buys with them. And then you get to the last one of those buys, the Roosters. We have guys like Teddy, Crichton, and Takiaho. Takiaho is a really interesting one, given the fact he'll only miss 1 game there. But again, if you're going to bring him in, you probably want to bring him at the start so you can make a little bit of extra cash with him. Teddy and Crichton are both set and forget. They're only going to miss 2 games this year. I really am interested in bringing both of them into my squad. Who knows if we have enough money at this stage, but that's something to think about. And then you've got Lamb and Radley in the mid-tier. Again, Lamb, you'd hope that he plays the majority of the year and could get close to keeper status, but if not, happy to move him on halfway through the year. And Radley might be a really cool option round 14 if he's into the swing of things after a few games off at the start of the year. All right, we're going to move on to the next bit, guys. But if you're enjoying this, hit the like and subscribe. We're building a lovely community here, and I have a Discord group which I'll put the link in the description. That's growing. There's just over 100 members at the moment, so jump in there, and it's going to be really cool come game days and things for late mail. A really easy spot to find all that. Eels, all right, they're going to play the first bye round, which is going to be really cool for those mid-tier and guns. So Madison shouldn't play Origin. Same with Moses. Nathan Brown did play last year, and Dylan Brown shouldn't play either. So Madison's a really interesting option to start the year with, or possibly bring in partway through the season. Given the fact that he scored really well, super consistent option. I don't see him losing much money through the year. So if you want him, I'd say you have a lot of the season to bring him in, but he won't be changing too much in price. So start with him if you like. Same with Moses. They're going to play that crucial round 13 bye, and then hopefully you can make a bunch of changes and trades in between those 4 rounds to get the best out of both rounds for there. And then you got someone like Tom Opacek, which, if you bring him at the start, hopefully he plays the majority of that, and you might be able to sneak him for round 13 and then trade him at round 14. When he goes to the Panthers, we got Cleary, Coruscant. So Cleary's going to play Origin. Coruscant should not. Isaiah Yeo should play Origin. You got Edwards and Luai. Luai's a maybe at the moment, but if you're starting with Api Coruscant, he's going to play around 13, which is great. Same with Edwards and possibly Luai. The other two guys are just going to miss, should miss the 2 games. Yo is a maybe for that, but again, if you want to start with these top tier guns like Cleary, missing 2 games is a really good option. Leoto and Momorowski I've chucked in there as value guys that, again, you probably want to move on come towards this season, this part of the season, but maybe you might be able to sneak around 13 out of them. We got the Tigers. 12 is an interesting one for me. I don't see you make your origin this year just with the fact that the New South Wales team has so many great forwards. He has a little bit of value and will play around 13. If he ends up being a keeper, which you'd hope for with him, then no worries. He's going to miss that round 17. But if not, you could use him for 13. If he sort of holds where he's at the moment, use him for 13 and then move him on to a top gear guy if you'd like to. Nofaluma, same thing. We'll play both. We'll play the round 13, which could be a good one in that wing fullback position. And then you move on to the mid tier guys like Brooks. You'd want to hope he becomes a keeper, but if he doesn't, you can use him for round 13 and move him on. Mbai, Laurie, and Blore. So all guys you'd probably want to move on after that round 13 as well. So you can see there's a bit of a theme, guys. What you want to have in the early part of the year is bringing in guys that are going to be playing that round 13 bye. You obviously don't want to go too crazy and have a full 17 or 18 or 19 out of your 21 playing round 13 to then have 10 playing in 17. So there's a bit of a balance there, but having a couple of guys that similar in price and scoring that you could bring in that are going to play that round 13 or only miss one of the games with them not playing Origin is really important for when you're putting your team together. So yeah, so those guys over there, no worries at all to bring in. Broncos, we got Carrigan, TPJ, Stags. Are your guns there? Stags is going to be out for the first portion of the year. It might be a cool one to bring in around that round 8-9. Hopefully he loses a little bit of cash and you can bring him in at a cut price in that center position to play that round 13 and do a good job for you. Same with Carrigan. Hopefully he loses a little bit of cash. Then you can bring him in as a gun to play in your team. TPJ probably has a little bit more value at the start of the season, but yeah, that's it with those guys. And then the rest of these guys, Lodge, for example, has a really good chance at the start of the season to come in and score really well, especially with Haas being out. Hopefully can average somewhere in that 40s. Would be amazing. And same thing, you move him on to a gun after round 13. Moving on to the Dragons. So McInnes, Ben Hunt, and Lomax. These guys are going to be really interesting for the squad. You wouldn't see Hunt is going to play Origin. There's a possibility. McInnes shouldn't play Origin, but will probably be in the squad. And similar with Lomax, he might be in the squad as well. But all guys that are going to play round 13 for your squad. Then you got guys like Kerford and Ramsey in the mid tier. Again, who you'll be able to use for round 13 if they make a bit of cash and score well for you, and then move them on. Titans, you got Fodawaker for Feeder, Brimson, and Fogarty. Fogarty shouldn't play Origin. Brimson's a maybe, depending where Pong is at. David Fafita will play Origin. Fodawaker won't. So again, if he drops a little bit of cash, he's someone you could bring in for this period who's going to be pretty close to a keeper in the mid position. Fafita's just going to miss the 2 games and could be worth just starting strong in your team. Similar with Brimson. Not sure what he'll do, but he plays round 13 and could be really good in the fullback position. Fogarty, I think he's a really good option. I think he's slightly undervalued and could be cool just to bring in for the entire season. And if he hasn't gone as well, you can move him on after 13. And you move on to the bench. So you got Mitch Rain to be cool to start with. You've got guys like Tino, Peachy, and Kelly. All are a little bit undervalued in a team that's probably going to do pretty well. I think they're good options. All right, and with the Storm, we've got the likes of Harry Grant, Hughes, Munster, and Pappy. Pappy might play Origin. There's a chance Munster definitely does. So again, someone that only misses 2 games could be really helpful for your squad. Hughes will not play Origin. He plays in round 13, and if he takes over an even bigger role, like Munster might do in the squad, he could be someone that's a out and out keeper in the half spot. And Grant should play Origin, so we'll miss just the 2 games. But then you got guys like Welsh, who will play Origin again, so he might be someone that hopefully you make a fair bit of money with him, get him up to over 700k, and then move him on before that round 13 bye. And Brandon Smith will be there to pick up a little bit of slack in that first bye round and should score pretty well. And moving on to the last team, we've got the Knights. So Ponga, Clemmer, Frizzell, and Barnett. Ponga will play Origin if he's available. Clemmer didn't make the squad last year and could be a really good front row option, mid option for the Knights there at round 13 bye. Frizzell will play Origin. Barnett could be a good scorer through that period as well. And then you guys got guys like Connor Watson who should do a really good job during round 13. All right, a lot of talking there, but that's my thoughts around Origin this year, guys. I feel like it's going to be a lot easier to navigate that period. What you would have seen in the past is trying to spend a few less trades during the first part of the season, just making sure that you're able to navigate the bye schedule during Origin, especially if you're someone that's playing Classic and going for overall, like the majority of us are. I know there's obviously a bunch of head-to-head guys that like to beat their mates, etc. But for those that are looking for the overall prize, it is important to navigate that part of the schedule. And this year, I believe it's going to be a little bit easier. So I'd suspect making a few more trades at the start of the season to get your team right. Making money is going to help during this period, as you've only got to be ready for one big buy round at the start, and then you can really trade heavy during the middle bit to get your round 17 team set. And then after that, making sure that all your guns are in your squad following that. But yeah, if you've got any questions around the buy schedule, guys, please hit me up in the comments or on Facebook there. We'll be able to help you out, and I hope you have a good one. See you guys.